I'm sending you my weekly reading strategy as we discussed coming out of quarter two's data and how we need to work on reading across all content areas. This week we'll talk about a pre-reading strategy used before students analyze a text that will help them connect their learning to what they already know about the world, and it's called an anticipation guide. I think about why a strategy like an anticipation guide is so important. I think about a text like this. This is a sample question pulled straight from the 5th grade practice test. You can see the question on the right-hand side that's associated with this passage, and it asks students to create a qualitative observation based on the map that they see in front of them. I watched several of you teach types of observations in the first couple weeks of school, and it seems to be a concept that's really sticky for students. They really latch onto it and can remember qualitative and quantitative. However, when thinking about a large block of text like this on the map, you can confuse students by, do I actually know what a qualitative observation is? Can I actually create one based on this large block of text? So what an anticipation guide does is help students to recall that information that they already know so that they can answer these questions that are buried inside of a text with a little bit more confidence. Now on the screen in front of you, you see an example of an actual anticipation guide. This is one that I created off the quarter 2 data and action plan document I sent you last week. If you haven't had a chance to read it, it's fine. It'll allow you to really put yourself in the place of your student during this pre-reading strategy. So in the center of the page, you see 5 statements that you are expected to respond to. Some of these statements are actual facts that are stated in the document. Some of them are just personal feelings that people may have had. And on the left-hand side, you see 2 columns to respond whether you think the statements are true or whether the statements are false. I'll give you a couple seconds to respond to these just as you would in yourself as the teacher reading the quarter 2 data and action plan document. Now, after students have had a chance to respond before reading the article, you can lead a quick class discussion. You can just move into the text. There are many ways that you can talk about what students responded to. And then you allow students to actually read the text. After they read it, it's important that you allow them to go back and revise. So on the right-hand side, you see, after I've read the text, now what do I believe about it? And students can mark again, true or false. And that is the basics of an anticipation guide. You see this example on the screen. I also want to give you a chance to see how a teacher introduces this strategy to his students, because I think it's important to see how you set strong expectations so students really bring their true answers to the document.
Stages of the water cycle. You know, how the water cycle affects us and what all it does. Another objective, the one in red up there. Dry.
Explain how carbon and oxygen are recycled in an ecosystem.
Very good. Do you guys know there's oxygen in our air?
What I want you to do with your book closed, because this is all coming from your brain and prior knowledge, I want you to put a check next to the statements that you think are true. And if the statement's false, go ahead and leave that statement blank. All right? So this is all from your prior knowledge, what you've learned throughout this year and in prior grades about, you're welcome, cycles of matter. Okay? All right. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds to make your 6 predictions. When you're done, go ahead and turn it over so the blank part's facing up. That way I know you're ready to move on. Now, you've just made your predictions. You don't know if they're right. You're not sure if they're wrong. What I want you to do next is with the person next to you, your learning partner, I want you to go ahead and share your predictions.
What I love about that teacher is that he really pushes students to think about what you already know and the brilliance that's already inside of you. And that's what I love about this strategy. I think also what I love about this strategy is that it's a super easy thing to implement for teachers, as all it requires is you reading the text in advance of your students, just like we would anytime we're giving students text, and thinking about those 4 to 6 statements that you want students to respond to. I've included the additional steps here on the screen in case you need them, but I think it should be pretty simple. I'm excited to see the possibility of this strategy in terms of getting students to better understand text in your classroom, and I'm excited to see it in your lesson plans moving forward.